welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today I'm doing another indie spotlight. I have a director. He has a movies coming out in next month or so, and it's also in pre-production on the sequel. We have Mitch Lang here. He has two indie horror movie, super cheesy B looking. I only seen the trailer, but they look amazingly. If you like B movies, you're gonna love them.
Yeah.
The Bogman and the sequel, Sea of Madness. Mitch, thank you for coming on, my friend. How are you?
I mean, I'm fantastic. It is not as hot as it has been down here in Louisiana, and we've just been happy that it's been double digit temperatures, not triple digit temperatures.
It gets hot as hell in Louisiana during the summer. Hot as hell there.
Unbelievably hot. Like it was 110 last week,
Shit.
just outside, just 110. Felt like 116. I'm like, well, if it feels like it's 116, shouldn't it just be 116?
And the mosquitoes are terrible there. I've been in New Orleans
Yeah.
in Louisiana quite a few times. The mosquitoes this time of year is terrible there.
Yes. The trick is to drink. Because if you drink, then the mosquitoes, they kind of leave you alone because they die.
Oh, yep. So, Mitch, tell us about Let's Shoot Into the Bogman.
Well, the Bogman, like you said, whenever we started it out, the whole mindset was we wanted it to look like a 1980s VHS tape of a 70s horror movie. And so I have always been a big Bigfoot enthusiast. I get asked if I believe all the time, and I tell everyone that I am an agnostic. Like I want to believe in Bigfoot. Like I believe in aliens because now the government gave us the data. So I mean, yeah, I just need to see a little bit more data on Bigfoot to say 100%. But it's a fun. That's the main thing that anybody that has watched it has told me. Is like that was a fun film. It's about a family. It's got a lot of the classic horror movie tropes, and tropes are tropes for a reason because they work.
Mm-hmm.
So the story is it's about a newly mixed family that has just inherited a ranch from a deceased uncle, and they are moving to the ranch, and they find out that the town the ranch is in is a Bigfoot tourism attraction spot. In fact, their economy is kind of based on the tourism that the Bigfoot brings in. And so they're like, "Oh, this is cute, this is fun." And they get to the farm, they get to the ranch, and they start finding out that maybe it's not all legend. And there is a documentary crew because, of course, since this is a Bigfoot tourism spot, they are completely trying to cash in. And there is a Bigfoot documentary crew that has taken up residence at the town, and they are filming their Bigfoot show, Chasing Bogman, here. And so, after a few things happen at the ranch with the family, the documentary crew shows up, and then they get attacked. So then they decided, well, let's bring in some paramilitary militia groups to come help, and then that goes awry. So when people ask, what does it boil down to? It's like, all right, the Bogman picture, Harry and the Hendersons with the Predator.
Oh, okay. So it's a sophisticated and intelligent Bigfoot.
Well, the intelligence is yet to be seen.
Okay. Now, speaking of Bigfoot, so I did not know that Bigfoot was such a big thing. The first time I knew that there was a Bigfoot association and there was Bigfoot groups, this was years ago. I went on a first date with this lady, and she was wearing a Bigfoot t-shirt, and she had a Bigfoot purse. And I walked to her car, and she had a Bigfoot bumper sticker. I said, "Boy, you really like Bigfoot." And then that's when she told me about the Bigfoot Association and going to Arkansas to the mountains looking for Bigfoot. And the question I always asked was, so when you find Bigfoot, what are you going to do?
Excellent question. I think that we answer that in the Bogman movie, and it's two. If you have a gun, you're dead. Two, run, leave him alone. Let him be like that. If Bigfoot is real, I am one of those people that let him be, leave him alone. Like if we find out that he's real, okay.
Hmm.
Let him be. He's managed to survive this long. How I don't, I'm not a scientist. I can't tell you about evolution or how
I
this happened. But I'm just saying, if it is real, can we not mankind it up and just let him be?
mean, he's been able to hide for this long without anybody really getting video footage of him. I mean, we're seeing fake ones. I mean, maybe Bigfoot is a lot smarter. Maybe he is a intelligent mammal.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. And the interesting thing you brought up, I've always been a Bigfoot enthusiast, right? Ever since I was in junior high, because back in the day in junior high we had to go to libraries. We didn't have the internet, so uh, I would always take resident up there at the the cryptid section, the true crime section, and everything. And the Bigfoot books were one of the main things that I always checked out, in the library. But it wasn't until after we made Bogman that I realized how big of a Bigfoot community there is, and like how
Huge.
rich the history of Bigfoot movies are. And like I became enamored by it and had a whole new appreciation by it. And especially whenever those people started accepting the Bogman and like started saying like, yeah, this is fun, and y'all were very respectful of the lore of the creature itself. Like that's the thing. Like even though I might not 100% believe in Bigfoot, I definitely don't want to disrespect the people that do believe that Bigfoot is real. Because
Exactly.
that's a choice, and everyone is allowed to believe whatever they want to believe based on whatever information and circumstances they've lived through in their life. And who are we to say they're wrong or crazy? Like so, but I'll, the people that don't believe in Bigfoot, you'll also find the movie funny because the absurdity of it. But if you are a Bigfoot enthusiast, you will respect because we did. I took a lot of care in adding in lore. In fact, a lot of the things in the movie came from direct like Bigfoot stories that I had read or like listened to podcasts on or like watched YouTube videos on and stuff like that. Like I wanted to make sure all the interactions with the Bigfoot were very much what it would really be like if it was based off of eyewitness accounts and things of that nature. And we add in stuff like the smell of the creature whenever it's nearby,
Yeah.
the sounds, the clapping noises, the wood hits,
They said that he
the
has a very distinct, strong, smelly odor.
yes. And then we even added in some Native American mythos where, like, the Native Americans used to make the stone structures. I butcher the name every time. The Shuknuks, they used to make those to mark trails and territories and burial sites and things like that. So we had the Bigfoot in our movie use those same type of stone structures to communicate with the other Bigfoots within the woods.
So there are other Bigfoots.
Yes. Yes. It
Okay.
is
And we'll
multiple
see
big
other
feet.
Bigfoots. Big feet.
Big feet.
We'll see. We'll, we'll see. Now, are there female? But it has to be female big feet.
If there's more than one,
Yeah,
if there's more than one, at least one is a female.
at least
I
one,
mean,
right?
like, we can't get away with that. Like that's
Now, now, the Bogman, is he a peaceful creature? Or is he a creature where, like a Jason Voorhees or a Michael Myers, he's not going to, unless you tread on his territory or tread on him, and he's not going to fuck with you.
very much. I talked about it being mixed in with Predator earlier because, like, the Bigfoot's been there. He's been hanging out in the woods. Like he just don't attack everyone that walks out into the woods. That's a dead giveaway. So, like, the first time he ever attacks anybody is anytime that when they shoot at him with guns, and he's basically protecting his territory, his land. There's shots with him interacting with pets and stuff because he's not a mindless creature. He's just out in the woods trying to live, and these dudes showed up with guns, and now they got cameras and stuff, and like, no, this, like, yes, I'm going to slaughter all of y'all. If y'all
Mhm.
had not done that, we could have coexisted, but now people got to die.
Awesome. Now, so what's the difference between a Bigfoot and a Sasquatch?
The area that you are from,
Okay.
it's you
It's just
know,
different names for the same creature.
pretty much like if you hear someone in Florida talk about the stink ape, they're still talking about a Bigfoot. If you hear someone talking about a Yeti in you know like in the Washington State area, they're talking about a Bigfoot. If you're talking about the abominable snowman in the mountains over in Asia, you're still talking about a Bigfoot. It's just different. There are different species. People that are believers that believe that there are different sub species of them, and just like there are different races of humans and stuff
Hmm.
like that. So yeah, they're all basically the same thing in a nutshell.
Awesome. So production wise, how long did it take you to film the Bogman?
Well, we were very lucky in the sense that when we did this, we did the Bogman making it with no guarantee that anyone was even going to see it. Like it was really just like a passion project that we at Open Heart Productions really believed in. Open Heart Productions is the production company out
Shout
of
out to
Northeast Louisiana that I own. And I had mentioned to you earlier, it's very much the island of misfit toys. People that get spit out of Shreveport or New Orleans that end up in the Northeast corner that want something to do, and even people that have always wanted to do it but didn't have an opportunity. That's what Open Heart is. Like, if you want to do it, we are here, we are working, we are doing something, we have a pipeline for distribution. We might not be making cheddar cheese, but I mean, we are all very passionate about our art. And really, it's it's more important to finish the artistic product or project, whatever you want to call it, than it is to get financial gain out of it. Of course, we all want financial gain, of
Mhm.
course, but wherever we started Bogman, we knew that there was a chance that it was just going to be a DVD that we put on our shelf at home that we just showed people when they came over, you know. And so we had no real deadline, and we had a minuscule $5,000 budget, and that budget went towards just stuff like the Bigfoot costume and different props and stuff like that. No one got paid on it. Not one actor, not one crew member, no one. So it was one of those things that we got together and filmed on the weekends. Now we blocked off a set of time, like we filmed the Chasing Bogman TV show footage like in July of 2022. And then by September, every weekend in September and October, we were filming the actual movie part. And it took us the full 2 months of every weekend to get it all. And then post production wise was a cinch because I am a editor by profession at different TV stations and stuff like that, and so is most of the team. We are all kind of employed by the TV station, to an extent.
Mhm.
So the post production time was nothing. I think maybe altogether it was 9 weeks, including like ADR recording and color, and like 9 weeks altogether.
Not bad at all. So making the Bogman, if you had more, let's say if you had an unlimited budget, what's one thing that you would add into the movie?
If I had a unlimited budget, I would have spent more money on the suit. Um, the suit, the guy that ended up making it and designing it was a gentleman named Richard Henderson, who was our art department guy, and continues still to this day. And he's actually now one of my best friends in the whole world. But we were in a situation of like we had what we had, and I had an idea of what I wanted it to look like. I'm a big fan of the 1980s 1989 Swamp Thing
Yeah.
TV show from back in the day.
Hmm?
And so I wanted the suit to have that element of nature stuck to it. Like he wouldn't just be a clean furred creature if he's living out in the bogs and swamps. It would all be matted on him and it would just be a part of him now,
He
you know?
smells. Yeah, he smells. So you definitely want a
Yeah.
dirty creature.
So Richard took a like a Spencer's Gifts Bigfoot suit and a ghillie suit and football pads and some other ape components and Frankenstein together the suit. Like he like ended up like cutting up the fur and would just like we were bobby pinning and sewing the fur parts to the ghillie suit to the actor who was an amazing 7 foot tall gentleman named Christian
Wow.
Gross. So we did get a Bigfoot with, you know, some
He
height
was a
on it. So
Bigfoot.
whenever he stood up, it was legit like, oh my gosh, this dude's huge.
Nice, nice. So, special effects and the gore. I see that there is some gore in here. Practical effects.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
assuming?
nothing. We did nothing but practical gore effects. Um, we the only digital effects that we did was something that we did just 100% for safety. And every time a gun is shot, that is a digital effect. But besides from that, there are no digital effects in the movie whatsoever. It's all practical. If we want blood splatter, we shoot blood cannons up against trees until we get the right consistency. It was funny. Our special effects girl, Bree Hill, she is an amazing artist. She's working with us on Sea of Madness and the mermaids. I'm so excited to see like the mermaids on camera that she's been crafting. But I remember one of the shots, and one of it's in the trailer, where the blood splats from the rock landing on the guy, and we kept on having to reshoot that blood splatter scene over and over because I was like, I need more blood. There's not enough blood, and finally they're like, after like the fourth or fifth take of like trying to get blood, Mitch, how much blood are you talking about here? I was like, I need a Sam Raimi esque amount of blood hitting this log, please. And once I said that, they knew what I was talking about and they nailed it because I am a big fan of gore. But here is my caveat: the gore, it has to serve a purpose, and for me, most of the time, the purpose is a joke.
Mhm.
Um, I am not a big fan of gratuitous gore that is just so lifelike that you have a hard time eating your lasagna while you're watching the movie.
I
I
agree.
know that's some people's bag, and that's that they want to watch the most fucked up shit they can find, and more power to you. And I understand that it's fake. I'm behind the scenes. I've seen the stuff that they use to make the good stuff. I know it's not real, but that's just not my bag. I prefer my gore to be cheesy and usually at the expense of somebody.
I grew up in the '80s, and I like '80s gore. Some of the newer style gore is like, it's too much for me. I'm like,
I feel like we've hit a wall.
it's too
Like
much
where
because
can we go? Like if you're already at max shock, where do we go from there? Well,
I mean, I was talking to someone at an interview, and I was like, are we desensitized as a society because we need more, 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 more? Listen, I love Terrifier 2. Terrifier 2 was a lot. It was a lot. First one was a lot.
I
It
mean,
was
that movie did what it was trying to do.
it did.
Let's be real, and
But
it did a great job at doing
it
it.
did an amazing job of it. But there's people out there now who are trying to up Terrifier, and it's just going to get to this thing where what are we going to see now? It's going to be something that's completely unwatchable, and like
Yeah,
if it's
yeah,
something you
like
enjoy, then you are a sicko.
yeah. Whenever all the movies are now a Serbian film, where do you go from that? And
Hmm.
like, I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
lie, I hated that
you're
movie.
going to be watching snuff movies. What?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like a piece of my soul died whenever I watched that movie. And in fact, a buddy of mine was like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about watching." He's like, "Please stop, don't,
Yeah.
don't, dude. What? You can come over to my house, pick any movie you want to watch. Don't watch that movie. You will not walk away a different person."
You will. And there's certain horror movies that are not fun. I like fun horror movies. I've always liked fun. I love my Friday the 13th, my Halloweens. Yes, those movies can be violent and fucked up, but there's still a level of fun behind it.
Yeah, yeah. Like it
Like,
goes back to what I said earlier. There are horror tropes, and some people might roll their eyes at them, but I mean, they're there for a reason, and because they work. And if they didn't work, they wouldn't have made what, 12, 13 Jason movies. Gonna make
mhm,
more. Like, yeah, they can get shocking with some of the kills on that, but once again, it's always at the tail end of some kind of joke, and I can
mhm.
get behind that.
Yes, I agree. There has to be horror. Definitely has to have a pinch of humor with its mass murdering. It has to have that pinch of. I
Yeah.
mean, the perfect example of. I can't believe it seems like every video I'm bashing on this movie. But Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills had people gonna die tonight. Like, that's funny. Like, it's, yes, Michael Myers was fucking people up in grotesque ways in that
In
movie.
intense ways. But
Intense ways. But there was a level of humor that you didn't take the shit serious.
hmm you see, right now, Open Heart Productions, now that we have distribution for the Bogman, and we are moving forward with what I and everybody else in the team is calling the BCU, the Bog Creature Universe.
Yes.
And we,
Get into.
as of this moment, we have 9 films planned.
Holy crap. By the way, your next one is going to be the direct sequel. Well, not
Yes,
sequel, but let's call it sequel.
it's a
Um,
character sequel.
yes, character sequel. Sea of Madness. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, actually, while we were in like post production for Bogman, a buddy of mine who is an author, his name's John Tripp. He writes the short novelette series of like splatter punk type horror stuff. That's is great. I love it. And he had just started his series, and he'd only released like 2 books so far, but he sent me the second one, and it was Sea of Madness. And I read it, and I love that it had this, John Carpenter's The Thing, Leviathan type uh creature feature thing. It wasn't mermaid based. It was a mer creature, but it wasn't like mermaids. But like I saw it, I loved the story. It was very much right up my alley with that old school classic cheesy type, gore horror with the jokes that like I'm all about. Like I felt like that he had hit my sense of humor perfectly whenever he wrote that book. And I just remember as I was, because it was only like 101 pages, so it was a pretty easy, quick read. But I remember as I was reading it, I just remember thinking, like, man, if I could add 2 characters from the Bogman into this story and change the creatures to an actual mermaids and have that cryptid thing, be a tying factor with the Bogman, I think that we could, the story was already great. I'm not knocking the story. It was a fantastic story, and I encourage anyone to go on Amazon and go and purchase the book because it's worth it and it's very cheap. But I just felt like we could up the story ante. We could up the jokes. We could up the gore. We could up the scares. And so I hit him up and I was like, dude, I love this book. I love it so much. I want to write a screenplay for it. Can I fuck with it? I told her I want to add 2 characters, but you got to understand that adding 2 characters into situations, the group will make different choices than they would have made beforehand because you have different voices of reason, and it's ripple effect. It's different. So I told him I was going to have to take some liberties if he was cool with it, and he was like, "Man, write it up, and I'll let you know if I hate it." And I wrote it up in about 2 weeks, and it was the easiest screenplay I've ever written in my entire life because I had the book right there. And I'm not one of those that I was making sure that like the dialogue was the same, that the actions were the same, but whenever I came to change, that's whenever the timeline veered off into Back to the Future 2. And so I sent him the script, and he really liked it, and I offered him the assistant director spot on it, which he is doing. So I'm very excited about that. And next was it's been a wild ride with Sea of Madness, because it went from you know we've got this deal with Bogman, and we've got these built-in sequels. Let's build some franchises. Things got screwy with funding, pretty much where I told people, like, I don't care if you give me the funding or not. I'm going to make this thing happen.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever wants to benefit on the back end the most by putting the most in the back end gets to benefit in that. But I'm not going, me and my team had worked too hard at that point. Like, we were not going to let something like lack of funding stop us from finishing this. But we also knew that to do this one, we had to have some kind of funding, because 70% of this movie takes place on a World War II battleship. And we can't just piece that together in the old drama.
Is it hard making a movie? Okay, I have a question. Listen to me. Do you think it's easier to make a movie right now in 2023 than maybe even 5 years ago? I mean, to make a movie, get it distributed.
Do I think it's easier?
Right now in 2023,
in the fact that I think that
to get a movie made, distribute on a service or DVD or whatever, than maybe 5 years ago before COVID?
I want to say no.
Okay.
Only because, yes, anybody can order an HD camera. Anybody can get any editing software. Anybody can get the materials to make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can. Your next door neighbor, they can, even if they just spend 5 years just building it up, within 5 years they can have everything they need to make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the thing that's hard, because anybody can make a movie. A lot of people are making movies, or they're at least trying to make movies. And the thing is anybody can start a movie. It's been very rare that I've seen people finish the movie. And it's been very, even rarer that I see them do anything with it afterwards. And since everybody can do it, everybody's trying to do it. So now people are being more selective of what they allow. Like, yeah, you can throw anything you want on YouTube and hope that it becomes, a hit.
Yeah.
You can go through the right, channels and put it on iMovies or Prime or what have, like, there are steps that indie filmmakers can do and do those things, and you don't need a distributor to do that. But a lot of those people don't have longevity, and I'm not knocking them for it, because we're all in the struggle together. Like, I'm not out the gate, like, I'm still navigating my way through this, but I'm also not delusional in the fact that I just know that it's going to happen because I want it to happen. It takes work, and you have to put in the time. You have to network. You have to talk to people. You have to be out there. You have to submit. You just have to be everywhere that you can be, and faith can only get you halfway. You got to put both feet in front of you to go the whole way.
So I've actually said that. So I'm a marketing guy. I have a marketing background, and I've said that when it comes to indie, especially indie horror. One thing I can say about I don't know if you ever heard me say this story about Terrifier. the reason why Terrifier is so successful is not because of Art the Clown. It's not because of the gore. It's not because, it's the greatest horror movie ever. The reason why Terrifier became so successful because Damien Leone and that fucking cast have the fucking boots on the fucking ground. I am telling you, they're at every fucking horror convention anywhere in this world. If there's a horror convention, they're there. And
That
the way I
clown was there.
yes, they're really there. The whole cast is there. And the way I found out about the original Terrifier, I was at like 4 conventions at a row, and I kept seeing Terrifier crew. I'm like, who the hell are these Terrifier people? Who's this crazy looking clown? And it forced me to watch the Terrifier
Yeah.
movie. I didn't like it, but
I didn't like it, but I watched it.
yeah, but it got me into listen. They got my money, so it got me into the realm of Terrifier, and it also got me in the realm to go see Terrifier 2, which I actually enjoyed. So, and even but they're not letting it up. Even though Terrifier 2 is a success, even though they're getting a huge budget for Part 3, the Terrifier group is if you're any indie horror director, filmmaker, you got to follow that blueprint, and that is being at every single convention, talking to people, being out there, networking. That is the blueprint to making it as a indie filmmaker.
Yep, it is. I mean, because like I said, because everybody wants it, everybody's trying to do it. It just kind of at the end of the day, it's like how much gas you got in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
Like how far can you go? Can you go the distance? And do we have enough gas in the tank? I by God hope so. I mean, we damn trying. Like we're hungry. We are very very hungry, and we also like one thing that I'm very proud of us in, and this might end up being my downfall. I don't know, but it's also kind of the thing that I'm gripping onto at this moment. As an indie filmmaker, I am kind of sick and tired of hearing about the K Mountain. Um, I how everybody is talking about it just seems like we're getting more and more Ks every year. Oh, I got the new 4K, got the new 6K. Oh, the
Oh,
new 8K is
yeah,
coming out. Oh, the new
yeah.
10K. The next thing's going to, within 10 years, where we're going to be at. Oh, look at the new 157K just came out. Like I don't want to climb that K mountain. I understand that there are benefits to that. Like Netflix won't even look at you unless you're already at a certain summit of the K mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Which I am proud to say that we at least made it to that level. We have some very nice Blackmagic 6K cameras, but we that we're using for Sea of Madness, but we did not go that route with Bogman, and we did that very intentionally. Like
It's a great movie.
we did have options to get some of those better cameras to borrow them and things like that. But at the end of the day, I was just like, I understand that camera is amazing and it's top of the line and the ISO and then I get it, the lens, it's great, but you know what? The Nikon D still gets good quality out here in these woods, and if the guy that's got the nice K camera can't make it, we'll throw the Nikon D out there and get what we need because I don't care. I do not care. And I've had to care. And that's, like I said, it might be my downfall because I feel like us and our team, we do things traditionally enough in the sense of storytelling because you can't mess with storytelling.
Yeah.
Storytelling it is what it is. You can't tinker with it. It's like trying to mess with the wheel. But just because you can't mess with the wheel doesn't mean that the carriage has to be exactly the same way that it's always been designed. It, I think it's very much we treat all of our movies at this point in time when we do Sea of Madness, it'll be the third movie that we've all done together because we had done a previous movie before Bogman, and it was one of those ended up on our shelf horror movies. So we ended up let's just do another one. So this is our third production together, and we know ourselves so well and we enjoy each other's company and time together so much that all the movies just kind of end up feeling like summer camp. Like I've worked in other film crews other real production crews, other indie crews, and it just always seemed like there was always some kind of tension somewhere within some sect. You can't go over there. They're moody right now, like, oh, they're pissed off right now. Hang on, hold back, like, oh, the director just got pissed off, like there was always some kind of awkwardness at some point in time where a temper would flare and everyone's kind of, and I like whenever we started doing Bogman, like since it was our second movie altogether, there was never a single moment where any of us felt any kind of tension. It always felt like we were just having fun the whole time. Even whenever things like went wrong and we were like scrambling to try to fix problems, that we still would like take a moment like, this is crazy. We could be doing anything else right now. And we're arguing about why the blood's not going out into the tree. All right, yeah. So, like, that's one thing that I really cherish about Open Heart and the people, because, I know that as the director and the writer, and as you see, I acted in it, I know I get a lot of spotlight on me, but I really could not do any of this without all those people at Open Heart Productions, the Daniel Starks, Kyle Simpsons, Richard Hendersons, Bree Hill, Adam Bass, like all these people threw in so much time for nothing and continue to do so, because we did end up finding a budget for Sea of Madness. It was way more than what we had for Bogman, because just to rent the ship for 5 days alone was 15 grand. So like we had to find money for it, but it's just kind of like we all kind of laughed. It's like, hey, we're all making $50 a day now. We would have been here for free,
So, do we have a release date for Bogman?
Well, based off of potential, based off of what Green Apple Entertainment has told me, they are still looking at a late October, early November release, because we are trying to get on the back of Halloween this year, which I think would be great. I know it'll probably end up living on Shutter or Tubi or something like that in the end. Uh, what's the iMovies and Prime and stuff like that. Like it'll probably end up living in places like that. But if we can get in that Halloween just for that 1 month, I think that would be huge for
That'd be
us.
awesome. That'd be awesome. So, all right. So I've got two more. I got two questions to ask you. These are random horror questions. This is the fun part of the interview. All right.
Shoot.
Let me think. Which one should I pick? All right. If you could reboot any iconic B horror movie, so that's a low budget horror movie, which one would it be?
Okay, some questions. So I'm rebooting a B horror movie.
Correct. Iconic one.
Iconic one. Is it a series, a franchise of movies? Like,
Sure. It could be a franchise, but you're gonna reboot the first one, whatever the original first one is.
I would want to do Dead Alive.
Why that one? Let me hear that.
Well, that was Peter Jackson's second movie ever, and it is almost a D, like as far as like acting wise goes, it's a very D-list movie. It's over the top, overacting, but and the gore is also some of the most gore, blood and guts, but it's also very funny, very comedy. Like there's this one scene where the guy pulls a push lawnmower to get through a horde of zombies coming at him, and it's like 100 gallons of fake blood by the end of it.
It's like a trauma movie.
Yes. So probably Dead Alive, because I know they're rebooting Toxic Avenger, so I can't say that one. So
yes. And by the way, hint, November what you just said. Check back on my channel
Yeah,
for exclusive
yeah.
interview. Yep. I got an exclusive interview. But um all right, next question. Last question. F Mary Kill. Final girl. You ready?
So fuck Mary Kill. All right.
Yeah. All right. We got Sydney from Scream.
Okay.
Let's go with
Can't go wrong with Nev Campbell. Total
you can't,
babe.
yes. Yeah.
Even in Twisted Metal, she's still like, ooh, now she's a MILF.
uh, all right. I'm just going with the classic ones. Laurie Strode and I'm gonna toss a new one in there. And Mia Goth's character in X.
Whose?
Mia Goth. Did you see X? Pearl.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The final girl in X. Well, she's
All
going to be
right.
Maxine. Maxine. Jesus. Maxine.
Yeah. So I'd kill Maxine just right out the jump.
Why would you kill Maxine?
I mean, listen, do we want to go really deep into my craziness right now? I mean, she was in the movie X. I would have fun killing her. So would that also count as fuck? I don't know, but so she's dead. Would
Okay.
totally fuck Nev Campbell. That's my fuck. And I'd marry Laurie Strode. I'd make an honest woman out of her because I'd get to fuck her too. So I mean, we're all winning here.
See, I would go the same route as you because I would listen. Maxine, she was a porn star. Who the hell's going to marry a porn star or even after a porn star?
Hey, they're people too, and they're capable of
I'm
love
listen, not for me.
and
Not for me.
everything like that. But I understand your thought process. I'm not trying to be a dick, but I am also like they're people too. Damn it.
So I'm gonna skip. So yeah, bye bye. But I have to marry Sydney because she seems like the better wife material. I feel like Lori is too overbearing and I don't know. I feel like she's a
But
little
are we
too.
talking about
Yes.
them from the first movies though? Like, because if we're talking about Laurie Strode from like Halloween Kills and
Okay, I'm
Sydney
following her
from
from. I'm from following her from the original series from part one to H2O. Okay, that's the lineage I go by. That's the one I believe is the real lineage.
yeah,
But but yeah, from the original to H2O, Laurie Strode.
if I met Laurie Strode right after Halloween 2, feel like we could make something happen marriage wise for the long run. Feel like it could happen. Sydney, I feel like I once again am going to be my own downfall because even though I would say I would totally bang Sydney from Scream, I just now realized in my head that makes her a teenager. So maybe I'd have to wait until the college Sydney.
See, I'm thinking about mom
There's
Sydney.
booby traps all in this, man.
I don't know if it's because of my age or something. I wasn't even thinking about high school Sydney. I was thinking about mom, wife Sydney. She looks like an amazing mom and an amazing wife. That's why I'm sitting there like thinking about mom Sydney.
That's why I got to know which movie we're talking
Yeah.
about here, man. Like, this is very important questions that charges could be involved
Because you
in.
gotta watch out for the original. Yeah, watch out for the original Halloween because she was in high school too. So I mean,
You are right. You're right. But I thought she was like, wasn't she a senior? Like, wasn't she like 18-ish? Like, I don't know.
I mean, Maxine's looking good now.
Yeah. Now, at least we know for a fact that Maxine was legal age because it had to be for contract reasons.
All right, Mitch. Where can everyone find you, my friend?
You can find me on Facebook. Very easy, Mitch Lang, MITCHLAING, and of course the Bogman film on Facebook. We've got a whole horde of Amazon merch that's going to be coming out for Bogman here in the next upcoming weeks. Multiple different hoodies, sweaters, t-shirts. We're going to have Boggy Ball beers if you watch the movie. We have our own brand of beer, Boggy Ball beer, and Stink Ache Lager that we are going to have shirts and hoodies for as well, with some koozies and sleeves for you to put on your beers so that you can enjoy it, even though it's not a real beer. You can still pretend like you are. And so hopefully those will be on my Facebook page very soon. People can go and check all that stuff out.
Awesome.
And if you're going to be in the Arkansas area, said Mina, Arkansas, September the 23rd. I'm going to be at the Ouachita Bigfoot Festival, showing the Bogman and speaking afterwards. And then on October the 6th and 7th, on the 7th of October, I'm going to be the keynote speaker at the Lake Charles Film Festival, showing the Bogman, of course. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're in those areas, you want to come check it out, come say hello. I'm pretty easy to talk to, and we'll, sit down, smoke a cigarette, and drink a beer.
My man. Guys, definitely check it out. All right. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you very much for having me.
A pleasure, man. I would love to have you back on in the future. And I got the screener. I'm gonna watch that this weekend. And then I'm gonna
text me. Let me know what you think, man.
Thanks for listening. Yep. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.